So it is August 15th, early morning on Thursday, and reports now are the deal to land Mauricio Pochettino for the USMNT is a done deal. I feel like I'm in a dream state still. Last night prior to going to bed, we saw some of the reporting coming out that it was done, but it's one of those things to where you've seen these rumors, you've heard the rumors before, and until like US Soccer or major outlets actually confirm it and come out and say this is a done deal, you're always like, you don't want to hop online and start talking about it. I mean, I guess it's content sometimes, but I went to bed thinking we'll be dealing with this for the next few days, next couple weeks still. And I was still under the impression, I'm going to be honest with you, that this was all still a smokescreen, kind of like the Jurgen Klopp talk and the the smokescreen for Crocker, U.S. Soccer, to basically come out and say, look, the reason why we went with insert your MLS coach here or there, and this isn't a dig at, I'm just saying, the reason that you're seeing Columbus coach, LA Galaxy coach, as your new coach for the USMNT is because these big coaches, these global names, these world-class coaching names, we went after them. We tried, but I thought, I'm so jaded at this point. I'm almost 50. I'm so jaded at this point following the USMNT, US Soccer. I thought that was the route we were going. The group that, not necessarily that brought Berhalter here in the first place, and I know it's controversial, I know a lot of people don't like it, nepotism, whatever, okay? I'm talking the group responsible for bringing Berhalter back after the World Cup wasn't going to get this right, wasn't going to do everything they could to go after a top-notch coach. So I honestly thought that we were going to end up with one of those coaches to where you're just like, see, I told you. We went after Klopp. He didn't want to come back to soccer. We went after Southgate. He didn't want to come here. So when the initial leak that, we're talking to Pochettino, you're thinking, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. We are no stone unturned for sure. But you're thinking in the back of your head, at least I was, this is all still kind of a smokescreen just to say that, yes, you went out and talked to all the big names. But color me wrong, because I am still kind of shocked and kind of giddy. I'm still thinking as I'm scrolling through, and I've got it up here on my screen, the different windows, but enough outlets are reporting. New York Post, Sports Illustrated, Sports Business Journal, ESPN, The Athletic. The list goes on. And I'm here to apologize to Matt Crocker. Not that he's perfect, and not that, because he was responsible for bringing Berhalter back the first time after the World Cup. Which, I mean, just how wrong does this whole picture look, looking back on the entire story, that we go from, hey, Berhalter's the guy, not only the guy, but he is so much the best candidate for this job that we're going to bring him back after all of the controversy leading up to and coming out of the last World Cup. That this whole process that you went through, all the money you spent with all the analytics of trying to say, hey, we're making a thorough investigation, but Berhalter's our guy. By far and away, he is the guy that he brings more to the table than all the negative stuff that was the baggage attached to him. The same kind of people in charge that said that brought Berhalter back have now come to the conclusion Pochettino's the guy. Well, it's complete apples to oranges. How just months ago Berhalter by far is the guy, and then all of a sudden completely different set of rules here where we're like, by the way, we're bringing in Pochettino. Now, some of the details as far as how much he's going to make or whatever, at this point, it doesn't really matter the money, because U.S. Soccer can find ways to get this guy paid. It's a little humorous over the last couple weeks, though, as the rumors about Pochettino being considered at the top of the list, and then all of the pundits out there would get online, get on their TV shows or whatever, and start talking about some of the drawbacks or some of the weaknesses of Pochettino, whether it was at Tottenham, PSG, Chelsea, and his drawbacks. And they're like, look, he may not be the best fit because of X, Y, and Z. Here are some reasons why, when dealing with whether it's developing of players or the opposite, to where all he does is kind of develop young players, but he can't, win the big matches, the big tournaments. And I'm like, well, why, when we're talking about Pochettino or Klopp or whoever, any of the international coaches, you're like, okay, well, we're going to go by this set of criteria of how we're going to judge them. And then it's like, oh, we're talking Berhalter, we're talking Cherundolo, we're talking an MLS coach. Well, let's hold on a second, because we got here's how we're going to judge them. Night and day difference. Does Pochettino have to be perfect? No, not at all. But interesting enough, and arguably he comes in, he's the biggest name on this team. He is the biggest thing on this team. Over Pulisic. I mean, Pulisic's the guy. But now you have a coach to where the rally point is him. He's who you market. It completely changes the feel, the vibe, the marketing going into World Cup 2026. This is amazing. As the days go on, the weeks go on, we start getting into some of these exhibitions. This is going to be really fun. So I'm looking forward to doing a lot more USMNT content now going forward. I'm even planning on over the next 2 years in doing so much USMNT coverage and just having fun with it. I'm not claiming to be a super expert or whatever. I'm a reasonable kind of above average fan. I love watching my team, and I love watching the American players overseas and in the different clubs and how they're progressing. But I want to do more. So, with that being said, you'll notice like on the back side here, the advertisements for a couple of the channels and the shows that we do here at Tossing Solid Podcast. And I have changed in the last few weeks. Instead of this one monolith Tossing Solid Podcast channel that kind of does everything, we're going to continue with that in a sense that we're now rebranding to Tossing Solid Podcast Hub. So everything we do, you'll be able to find here at Tossing Solid Podcast. But I'm also creating 4 separate pages that are dedicated to either, and this is how we're branding it, to TSP Sports, which is going to be USMNT, which is going to be college football, anything kind of sports related. If that's all you want to see and want to get involved with, if USMNT is what you just want to hear and nothing else that the Tossing Solid Podcast Hub does, subscribe to TSP Sports. And you'll get, that's all you're going to see. And we're also doing TSP Total Entertainment, which is going to be like movies, TV shows, vinyl records, fun stuff like that. Okay. And then we're also doing 2 other channels, TSP DIY stuff, which is all of my DIY and tools, especially Milwaukee tools. But I'll tell you, I'm getting into Harbor Freight and the Icon stuff. That's a whole nother thing to where I'm like, we have got to focus on that as a channel. And then TSP Eats. And TSP Eats is going to be all of the food stuff. So you see it here in the background, TSP Food and Eats. See, it's so new that I haven't gotten all the names fully down yet. But all the channels are created. So if you're interested in any one of those specific channels, and that's all you want to see, I invite you and we'll have you subscribe to any one of those. But if you want to see it all, continue to watch us and subscribe here on Tossing Solid Podcast Hub. If you're interested in talking more USMNT stuff, I would love to have you come on the show. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to have a good intent, like talking about the U.S. team, and come on maybe every so often if something big happens, or if you just want to talk about something. I would love to have people come on a lot more and talk a little U.S. soccer. So look forward to doing more USMNT content, and we'll see you on any one of those channels.